What makes me a weather geek, the fact that I love the weather, especially when it's hitting me in the side of the face.
I'm gonna ride this one out, guys.
Be one of the thousands of weather geeks out there at WeLoveWeather.tv.
Stay tuned for your local on the 8s, brought to you by Olive Garden's new giant stuffed pastas, the biggest pastas to ever hit our tables.
The best tour of Italy is the one you create at Olive Garden. Create your own tour of Italy starting at $12.99. Choose 3 of 9 of your favorites. Delicious new grilled chicken parmigiana, always a favorite lasagna classico, and all the garden fresh salad and breadsticks you want. Have everything you love all on one plate. May you always get just what you want. Create your own tour of Italy for a limited time only at Olive Garden.
Currently in our area, 92 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, generally clear. Low 62. Winds northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tuesday, partly cloudy skies. High 82. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday night, mainly clear skies. Low 55. Winds east-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Following a tornado warning for you tonight across South Florida, including very near the Fort Lauderdale area, Broward County right now under a tornado warning, getting close to Pembroke Pines and over toward Hollywood as well. You can see that on the southern tip of this radar scan right here. And so please take shelter right now. Lowest level of your home. Get to that first floor. Get to as many walls between you and the outside as possible. National Weather Service saying that a tornado can form here at any time. Davey also included in that warning. This goes until 7:30 this evening, coming very near Pembroke Pines and up toward Fort Lauderdale as well. As we zoom down in, you can see south of Davie, a little bit of rotation being picked up now right along, say, a Highway 818 here, maybe very near 818 and 817. So if you're familiar with this area, they could be coming very close to 595 here, just outside of Dania Beach here. As we take a look at the correlation coefficient, what this does, and I know this looks a little bit messy here on the radar, what this looks for is debris that may be being tossed up by the tornado. It can pick that out differently than raindrops or hail. And so we look in that similar area near Davie. What we're looking for is maybe a large area of red with little dots of blue within it. Don't necessarily see that right now, but we'll certainly keep our eye on it. Again, tornado warning force here in Broward County. We'll keep you up to date as this develops. But right now, it is Creature Week, and we're going to toss it out to Alex Wilson. She's at the Georgia Aquarium this evening. We're talking sharks, and more sharks.
That's right. And also, you know, in trying to not give all the love to just sharks, we're trying to share the wealth. So we're back with fish nerd, Dr. Al Dove, Vice President of Research and Conservation is the real title, but we're all nerds here having a good time. So it's Creature Week. We mentioned sharks. Everybody, you know, I think we're drawn to the sharks, these whale sharks. Chris, we've got one doing a little drive-by by you now. So these are obviously the one that when you come into this exhibit, you go, wow, because these things are huge.
Yeah, you really do. And then, but shortly after that, you'll see this other wow moment where we have these manta rays that come by. They're giant stingrays that live up off the bottom and swim around in the surface layers of the ocean. And they're related to sharks too, so we like to call them flat sharks.
Flat sharks. So we're trying to make flat sharks happen here. We do Flat Shark Friday. And what else do they call them? Flappies?
Sea flap flap, yes.
Sea flap flap. So tell me a little bit about the rays. Obviously, we've seen the big black ones with the white, they kind of look like eyes, but those aren't eyes. Those are actually, they're like little scoopers.
So they have the little lobes on the front that they use to direct food to their mouth, but they are related to sharks, and you can tell that because they've got 5 gills too, just the same as a shark. But in the case of a ray, they're on the bottom instead of on the sides.
Okay. So how many species of rays? Now I've seen ones with spots, with pointy sides. I've seen ones that are fairly round with tails. How many different types of rays are we looking at in here?
Well, in this exhibit, I'm not entirely sure how many we have. I think it's somewhere around 12 evolve, but there are over 500 species of rays in the world.
Wow.
They're incredibly diverse, and they have this one thing in common, which is that they all tend to be kind of flat, hence the nickname flat shark.
And these are, you mentioned, did they eat kind of stuff on the ground, right? And if you were to try to feed them, you have to feed them like a horse.
Yeah, pretty much like a horse. You've got to bend your fingers out of the way because they've got crushing tooth plates that they would use for smashing clams and things like that. And so it's best to keep your fingers out of the way if you're hand feeding a ray. I don't recommend doing that with a wild ray. But
I would think if it can beat a clam, it definitely can beat my fingers.
it's probably best to keep your fingers out of the way. But then there's this other group of rays that's up off the bottom, the manta rays and devil rays. And they're some of the most graceful animals in the ocean. Here's Tallulah right
here we
now.
go, right, yeah.
She's our largest manta ray, and she's over 11 feet in diameter, and she's absolutely gorgeous.
Now, where would we find something like this? Is this something we'd see in the beaches on the Atlantic?
Yes, you could see this anywhere along the Atlantic coast of Florida or in the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. So this is even an undescribed species of manta, one of the biggest animals in the ocean, doesn't even have a scientific name yet. So we're still working on that, and hopefully we're part of that work here. But it's a species that you can see up and down the Florida coast.
It doesn't have a scientific name because we've only recently discovered it?
Well, we only recently realized that it was different from the other manta rays. So manta rays are really variable. They tend to change a lot. And so it took a while to recognize that there was this third species. We call them cryptic species that hide in plain sight. So we had this species. We didn't even know it was different until someone looked really, really closely.
Very cool. All right, we've got much more with the fish nerd, Dr. Dove, coming up as we continue to learn all about these creatures. I'm still on sea turtle watch. Up next, speaking of Florida, we're going to talk a little bit more about some much-needed rain coming to the Sunshine State. How much will they see? Our team's going to tell you next.
It's our Joseph A. Bank one-day sale. Save up to 70% on almost everything. Just $1.99 for signature.
5% clearer skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't take Otezla if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Otezla may increase the risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Side effects may include diarrhea, nausea, upper respiratory tract infection, and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Ask your dermatologist about Otezla today. Otezla, show more of you.
Oh, snap. Every truck guy has their own way of conveying powerful.
Yeah, boy. Kind of looks like a monster coming to eat you.
Holy smokes. That is awesome. Strong.
You got the basic and you got the beefy.
I just think it looks mean.
Incredible.
No way. I'm getting goosebumps.
Get 17% below MSRP on all Silverado 1500 LT pickups in stock. That's over $8,100 on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Not all chicken strips are created equal. At Boston Market, we hand bread our new all-white, all-breast meat chicken strips and bake them for a crispier crunch. Oven crisp, because baked is just better. Boston Market.
When you have type 2 diabetes, there's a moment of truth. And now with Victoza, a better moment of proof. Victoza lowers my A1C and blood sugar better than the leading branded pill, which didn't get me to my goal.
Lowers my A1C better than the leading branded injectable, the one I used to take. Victoza lowers blood sugar in 3 ways.
And while it isn't for weight loss, Victoza may help you lose some weight. Non-insulin Victoza comes in a pen and is taken once a day.
Victoza is not recommended as the first medication to treat diabetes and is not for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not take Victoza if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Victoza or any of its ingredients. Stop taking Victoza and call your doctor right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, or if you develop any allergic symptoms including itching, rash, or difficulty breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. So stop taking Victoza and call your doctor right away if you have severe pain in your stomach area. Tell your doctor your medical history. Taking Victoza with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. The most common side effects are headache, nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting. Side effects can lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
Now's the time for a better moment of proof. Ask your doctor about Victoza.
It's amazing out there means that you could take what some might call a boring weather day, but find a lot of fascinating aspects. You can look up in the sky and there's something to learn about the clouds or about the precipitation that's falling every single day. There's a lot of amazing stuff happening out there.
Closed captioning brought to you by Beltone, your premier hearing care partner.
Introducing the most innovative, discrete hearing technology available.
Having restored hearing is the reason why I'm back doing the job I love.
Those we trust Beltone.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Who could forget an epic scene from Jaws? Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching us here on Weather Underground. I'm Mike Bettis. Alex Wilson, my co-host at the Georgia Aquarium this evening. We are talking creatures this week on the Weather Channel, Alex. And, of course, we're talking sharks.
That's right. I was the perfect person to go out for Creature Week. You know that. Sharks, the name of the game today. So the Georgia Aquarium is the only aquarium here in the United States that has whale sharks. 4 of them in this tank. And they are so pretty. So what I love about whale sharks is they're not like Jaws. They're not mean. They're not going to rip you apart. If anything, they're just going to do a little drive-by wave. They've got polka dots. How scary can they be? So they're kind of easing our way into the world of sharks. Now, this is the Ocean Voyager exhibit from above. What's cool about this is I was like, do you guys turn off the lights at some point? They actually will dim the lights, and eventually later this evening, it'll be dark out. So they basically feel like they are moving through the day cycle just like we would. They've got a team of nutritionists that'll be out there first thing to give the ones that get breakfast. Some sharks, though, don't eat for a couple days. So I guess that, Mike, that just goes to show you why Jaws was so hungry, because some of them don't eat for a couple days. But we've been hearing a lot about, shark bites, and sharks have been getting some attention in the news lately. And while for some of us that makes us a lot more afraid to go in the water, it has raised awareness and has been good for the health of the shark community. Paul Goodlow decided to jump in with the sharks. Take a look.
Look at the kayaks.
Tense moments.
See the shark? See the fin?
Oh my God.
A great white shark knocks a kayaker into the waters off Northern California. Boaters pull him to safety. But it's just one in a string of recent shark encounters that have closed beaches and rattled nerves.
Attention in the water. Attention in the water. You are paddleboarding next to approximately 15 great white sharks. The sharks are as close as the surf line.
No such warning, however, for this mother of 3 who nearly died in April after being bitten in the leg near San Diego. It's more than just height. Shark populations are up thanks to conservation efforts, and rising ocean temperatures are bringing more of them and more of us closer to the shore.
Our water temperatures in the winter never got below 60 degrees, and the sharks didn't migrate. As global climate change continues to warm our coastal ocean, what people have to remember is sharks may start showing up in places where they may have never been before.
Still, experts insist that your chances of a shark attack remain extremely rare.
The word attack implies that there's some intent there, that the animal is really coming out to get you. And that's really not how shark incidents work. They don't have hands, so their way of exploring an object is usually to put it in their mouth. And unfortunately, that mouth is equipped with some fairly sharp teeth.
Minus the teeth, human-shark encounters are a major attraction here at the Georgia Aquarium. Here, visitors get the chance to swim with several species, including the biggest of them all, the plankton-loving whale shark. Thanks to conservation work by researchers here and elsewhere, shark populations once threatened by overfishing are now thriving.
They represent the apex of the food web, and we really want to see healthy shark populations because healthy sharks mean healthy oceans, and that's good for everybody.
Now that they are coming back, we have to learn how to interact with them again, but we also have to respect their space. It's their home. We're just guests visiting.
I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow.
Makes sense, Mike. You know, they're home. We're just hanging out in there, so let's all get along. Try to be, you know, don't be noticeable.
Alex, the thing about sharks is, I think people are just so intimidated, but they don't necessarily have to be.
No, some of these sharks, Dr. Dove has said, some of these sharks only get fed once every few days. So if he ate, he's not hungry, he's not looking for you. And a lot of times they're just as scared, if not more scared of us than we are of them, honestly.
The problem is you just don't know when that meal was.
I don't know. He might be more scared.
Well, you can't ask them if they just ate or not, so you don't really know. That's the problem, unfortunately. All right, Alex, thank you very much. More with Creature Week from the Georgia Aquarium with Alex coming up in just a little bit. Let's show you some weather right now, including storms all across the southeast. Numerous thunderstorms out here and a lot of lightning that goes along with them. Not a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings out there, so that's a good thing. So we're not necessarily meeting the hail or the wind criteria, but be aware of the danger of the lightning. In fact, we're already getting reports down in Florida that we've had some fires sparked because of lightning storms. Exiting the Atlanta area, head over toward Athens and through South Carolina, storms Birmingham. Then storms down through New Orleans as well, especially west of town. We've got some thunder boomers here, so watch for the lightning that's hitting you here in southern Louisiana. As far as the radar depiction goes, the future radar shows plenty of storms here over the next couple of hours, and a lot of those storms will wane as we go through the night as the air stabilizes some once the sun goes down here. So tomorrow we'll end up getting a few showers and storms out there that return in the morning, especially coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. We'll see some storms here along I-10 and say between I-10 and I-20 through the middle of the day. As far as the active weather goes, though, most of that will probably stay south of the I-20 corridor. But Florida, a place that certainly needs some of that wet weather. Dr. Forbes, it's an area that you've circled and put on alert for stormy weather today and likely tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I had a chance there today, and I've put red on the map actually for Florida tomorrow and Wednesday. Some good news there. The tornado warning that was in effect for Broward County around the Fort Lauderdale area, that is now a severe thunderstorm warning with still, though, a tornado possible. That's in this first round of thunderstorms. The thunderstorms here show up as the blue tops on this water vapor imagery. The other thing we see is this spinning counterclockwise broad area over South Texas, and that's the upper low. And as that comes east over the next couple of days, that's what's going to give the severe threat continued in Florida. Right now, Broward County down around the Fort Lauderdale area, severe thunderstorm warning, not rotating as strongly as it had been, but it's going about 15 miles per hour up toward the Fort Lauderdale area. It's should the circulation re-intensify, it's near Plantation right now, heading up toward Fort Lauderdale at about 7:59. Rotation, though, is not real strong. We have the westbound, the easterly winds, but we don't have a real strong eastward couplet here. But such as it is, it's in that area west of the Riverland area, heading up toward Fort Lauderdale. We'll hope that it does not intensify. That said, there are more storms on the way. One down coming over part of the Central Florida Keys. Additional ones next few hours coming toward the Naples area, and those may continue across the peninsula overnight tonight. Then tomorrow, that upper low that today is over Texas, tomorrow will be over, say, New Orleans and heading east with a surface low east of it, generating maybe even a little bit faster flow at low levels over Florida. So that means a threat for some damaging wind gusts, maybe a tornado, and that includes also South Georgia and maybe extreme south parts of Alabama. And on Wednesday, as the surface low still hasn't cleared Florida, southeast Georgia, East Florida panhandle, and all of the Florida peninsula, still with that chance of damaging winds. Tornado threat, I don't think real high. I've given a 2 on the 10-point scale. Mike and Dr. Navarro.
All right, thank you very much for that, Dr. Forbes. Okay, so if you're sick and tired of the stormy pattern, if you're sick and tired of the cool and wet pattern, we've got some good news for you. Dr. Navarro joining us now. Talk about this pattern flip-flop that we're going to see that's probably going to be welcome for a lot of people, especially in the eastern half of the country.
It's been such a gloomy start to summer in a lot of these. I think people are wishing for these warm temperatures to come into play. So if you're in the Northeast, you're right. I think we do have some good news for you. Here's that trough. This is the upper level pattern that's causing those below average temperatures right now. Those temperatures there are shaded in the blue and even the lighter yellow and green colors. But watch what happens with these red colors and these white lines as we advance towards next week. So this is in this 7-day time frame. Mike, can you see this ridge starting to form here and those warmer colors starting to shift to the east?
It's not that U shape anymore. Now it's inverted, so that means we're going to start to see a more southerly flow of air. And that's a good thing, because I know for many of you, you're thinking, okay, where's summer? Like, we turn the calendar to June, Memorial Day is long gone. It does not feel like June.
Yes, like where are the 80 and 90 degree temperatures? Well, they're coming, I'll tell you. So here's the pattern right now. There's a trough over the eastern part of the country and a ridge here out west. And now, again, ridge, we typically have warmer temperatures. Trough, we have cooler. Looking ahead towards next week, now this is in the Monday time frame, that ridge is going to be sliding off to the east. So we're expecting to see warmer temperatures return to the east coast and another trough now digging into the west coast. And so now this time, I brought my cheat sheet with me.
Okay.
So we can talk about some forecast temperatures because there's quite a change from this week to next week. So let's take a look at Boston. Boston. 52 degrees is the high for tomorrow.
Oh, miserable.
Right? I mean, what is going on?
No
It's
way.
June. But next week on Monday, 82 degrees.
Now you're talking.
Yes. Here's another one. Albany, New York, 56 degrees this week to 91 degrees next week.
That's June.
That is summer.
Looking forward to the flip-flop. We'll be right back.
Come on. Can you believe this cable guy? I took the day off for this. That's it. I give up. I'm taking a shower. No. Oh my goodness, I'm here! Seriously? An entire day wasted for this.
I hear you. Now let's change that.
Yes.
Stop waiting for the cable guy. Switch to Dish and get reliable 75-minute arrival windows. Dish, tuned into you.
That's life. That's what people say. You're riding high in April and shot down in May.
That's life. You diet, you exercise. And if you still need help lowering your blood sugar, this is Jardiance. Along with diet and exercise, Jardiance lowers blood sugar and A1C in adults with type 2 diabetes. Jardiance is also the only type 2 diabetes treatment with heart, proven to reduce the risk of cardiovascular death in adults with type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration. This may cause you to feel dizzy, faint, or lightheaded, or weak upon standing. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. Symptoms include nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, and trouble breathing. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis or an allergic reaction. Symptoms of an allergic reaction include rash, swelling, and difficulty breathing or swallowing. Do not take Jardiance if you are on dialysis or have severe kidney problems. Other side effects are sudden kidney problems, genital yeast infections, increased bad cholesterol, and urinary tract infections, which may be serious. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you have any medical conditions. So talk to your doctor about Jardiance, the one and only type 2 diabetes treatment with heart. Visit Jardiance.com for a free consultation with a certified diabetes educator if you qualify.
Will you be ready when the moment turns romantic? Cialis for daily use treats ED and the urinary symptoms of BPH. Tell your doctor about your medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adempas for pulmonary hypertension, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have a sudden decrease or loss of hearing or vision or an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis.
80% of recurrent ischemic strokes could be prevented with the right steps.
And take it from me, every step counts.
A Bayer aspirin regimen is one of those steps in helping prevent another stroke. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
I just want to find a used car without getting ripped off.
Start at thenewcarfax.com.
Show me used trucks with one owner.
Pretty cool.
Show me the Carfax.
Start your used car search at theallnewcarfax.com.
It's the simple things in life that mean the most.
Boost Simply Complete. No artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners, plus 10 grams of protein and 25 vitamins and minerals.
It doesn't get better than this.
Boost Simply Complete.
You're watching Weather Underground. We're updating you on severe weather this evening, including a tornado warning in eastern North Carolina. This is the same storm complex where earlier we had a tornado warning near Rocky Mount. Now near Williamston here, Martin and Pitt counties under a tornado warning. So if you live in Everett or Parmalee or in Robersonville, heads up. Get your basement if you have one. Get to the lowest level of your home and take shelter. Notice here near Beargrass, just to the west of Beargrass, very near, say, Highway 13 here in 903, we have what appears to be some rotation as detected by the radar. What we do in this case is we take out all the rain and the precipitation out of the radar. We look at just velocities, and we have the green and the red right next to each other. That shows you inbound and outbound winds that are coming toward the radar and away from the radar. When they're right next to each other, that implies that you have some rotation. So that could be it right there as picked up by the radar near Beargrass. So heads up here in Williamston and in Beargrass. Take shelter right now. Our warning goes until 8:30 this evening. Now I'm going to take you back toward the Ohio Valley here and show you some storms that are getting closer and closer to Louisville right now. In fact, severe thunderstorm warnings for us just outside of Louisville on the west side of town toward Corydon here. Harrison County is under a severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 8 o'clock this evening. If you're in Crandall or in Lanesville, make sure you're inside this evening. Large hail and winds could be an issue for us here. We'll keep you up to date on the radar on the severe weather this evening, but it is Creature Week, so we're going to send it back to Alex Wilson. She joins us now live from the Atlanta Aquarium, where they've got, first of all, the biggest aquarium in North America, and they have so many cool creatures to see.
Yep. So many cool creatures. Actually, we just saw Tank, the big green sea turtle. I was hoping he would make an appearance. He got a little shy again, but we'll keep looking for him in the background. But I'm here with Dr. Al Dove, our fish geek, and we've been talking about some of the incredible creatures. Obviously, the whale shark's the one that grabs our attention, but we've got all sorts of great sea creatures in there, from the bottom feeders to the ones that like to graze on the top.
That's right. So we've got over 8,000 different individual animals in this exhibit, at least 60 species, and it represents sort of a mid-open oceanic habitat, but also kind of a coastal rocky reef habitat. So you see many of those calm open ocean giants.
So let's talk a little bit about what the weather, so to speak, around and in the water would be for these animals.
Right, so this exhibit is actually really stable at about 76 degrees, and we have a nice light cycle that ramps up and down over the course of the day. But out in nature, it's much more dynamic. The current's always changing, and the temperature changes radically when you go from the surface. Even when you go down 1,000 feet, you're already down into the single digits. It gets very, very cold.
And let's talk a little bit more about, we talk about climate change and how we notice, warmer temperatures as humans. Ocean temperatures are getting warmer too, and this is going to affect all the sea creatures.
That's right. So right now, the biggest expression we're seeing of that is in coral reefs, which unfortunately are undergoing catastrophic bleaching all around the world. But it'll also be felt in other systems as well as time goes on. It's just coral reefs first because they're very, very temperature sensitive.
Okay. Now, and you mentioned that our whale sharks, they're kind of the bottom of the food chain, so to speak, even though they're not going to get eaten, but they eat the plankton. So they might be the first to feel the effects.
Right. So there's a lot of species that if you're a white shark, for example, you're right at the top of the food web. But the whale shark is a huge predator, but it feeds very low on the food web because it's eating plankton, that first layer of the food web. So if the ocean currents change and the temperature changes and that changes the plankton, then the whale sharks are going to express that first.
Yeah. And we want to do our best to protect these because as of last year, these are now endangered.
Officially an endangered species now, which is sad, but there's hope because there are things we can do. We can protect the species wherever it is. We can limit international transport, and we can create marine protected areas to look after important parts of their habitat.
Right, and some of their biggest actual enemies is fishing, and that's where you got your 4 whale sharks, from a fishery.
That's right. They came from a quota fishery in Taiwan. That fishery has now been stepped down to 0, so they don't fish for whale sharks in Taiwan anymore. There are a number of places in the world where it still happens, but it's almost illegal everywhere now to fish for whale sharks.
Now that they're endangered. And hey, if you guys want to help out the whale sharks, and you can get behind this as well, right?
Absolutely.
This is good stuff. Red Brick Brewing Company, based here in Atlanta, they actually came out with a whale shark wheat, and so the proceeds will go to helping the whale shark, which makes sense because our show is in a bar.
That makes perfect sense. So yes, whale shark wheat beer is delicious. It's great for summer parties and things like that. And the proceeds from this beer are going to whale shark research and conservation here at the aquarium.
And I think that's something we can all get behind. Dr. Al, thank you so much for teaching us all about these creatures. Creature Week is going to continue here on the Weather Channel tomorrow. Dave Malkoff is going to be in the office talking about snakes. I would rather hang out with the fish nerds than the snake nerds, so we're going to let Dave Malkoff do that. Weather Underground will continue for you right after this.
I was out here smoking instead of being there for my son's winning shot. That was it for me. That's why I'm quitting with Nicorette.
Only Nicorette Mini has a patented fast-dissolving formula. It starts to relieve sudden cravings fast.
Every great why needs a great how.
Those who suffer from lower back pain go to great lengths to find relief. Finally, there's drug-free Aleve Direct Therapy, a TENS device with high-intensity power that uses technology once only available in doctors' offices for deep, penetrating relief at the source. Aleve Direct Therapy.
No matter when or where severe weather hits, storm recovery is something we all can lend a hand in. And one of the best ways you can help is to donate blood. That's why the Weather Channel is partnering with the Red Cross.
Here we go.
Whether preparing for a storm or assisting in the aftermath, a donation of blood helps save lives, period. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to learn more. Help with tomorrow's recovery by donating your blood today.
Long live honor, and long live the truck that salutes those who've built this country. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Now get an average $11,468 in total values or 0% financing on the 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab.
The average family's below average deck. It splintered 11 paws, triggered an award-winning sigh, and inspired one incredible makeover. Just clean, conceal, cover. Since then, it's hosted one dance party, staged 4 sold-out shows, and sparked deck-over do-overs for days. It's your made-to-last deck, one great leap for bare feet. Bare Deck Over, available in 3 finishes, only at the Home Depot.
Do you feel that? That's the feeling of awe. And the sense of calm as it washes over you, leaving you to just sit back and enjoy. Let all your travel worries drift away thanks to 24/7 help with the Travelocity Customer First Guarantee. Travelocity. Wander wisely.
This is important news for men who have taken Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra and then suffered from the skin cancer melanoma. According to a new study, the use of Viagra and other ED drugs may increase the risk of men developing a serious form of skin cancer known as melanoma. Melanoma is a deadly form of skin cancer, which may require treatments such as surgery, chemotherapy, or radiation. In many advanced cases, melanoma can result in death. If you or a loved one took Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra and then were diagnosed with a skin cancer called melanoma, you may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. Call the law offices of Davis & Crump at the number below right now to find out if you are eligible. Call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
If you love the window seat, start your day opening the window to your weather with AMHQ. Mornings on the Weather Channel.
Tornado warning right now in eastern North Carolina. Take a look at the storm complex here just outside of Greenville. Public reporting along Highway 30 near Bethel. A tornado on the ground right now. Martin and Pitt counties are under a tornado warning. If you're in Everett or in Parmalee or in Robersonville, please take shelter right away. There's a look at the velocities. What we're looking at now is the wind as detected by the Doppler radar. The red and the green next to each other usually indicates you've got a tornado, some rotation in there. So this is just outside of Robersonville right now, potentially headed toward Williamston. If you're in Williamston, please take shelter right away. The storm could be coming your way. And even in Jamesville, I know you may be outside of that tornado warning, but just be very, very cognizant of the weather right now. That storm maybe even take maybe even a bit of a south jog. Wouldn't be surprised because that whole line is sagging just ever so slightly to the south. In Beargrass, tornado could be there at 8:17, and in at near Rogers School around 8:33, 9:33 around Jamesville Union School. So tornado warning for us right now in eastern North Carolina. We'll keep you up to date on that, but right now let's turn our attention to the tropics and take a look at Galveston, Texas. It's a beautiful evening there. Fair skies overhead. Could we be bracing for some storms on Tuesday? Yeah, it's possible. But we're going to talk a little bit more about what the tropics do early season. Joining us here in the cave, our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. Not unusual to see early season activity. I know that the season started a couple of weeks ago in the Eastern Pacific, just started last week in the Atlantic. But paying attention this time of year is really important because you don't want to be caught off guard.
Yeah, and in reality, the season starts when the atmosphere says the season starts,
right. Not when we say
not when the humans say, right? And in many cases, including this year with Adrian, there have been many times when the East Pacific season has started before the official date on May 15th. Same in the Atlantic side. We saw preseason systems the last couple of years.
We've already had our A storm in the Atlantic.
But as I always say, there's a really big difference between what you see in preseason and early season and what the peak of the season might be like. The early and preseason stuff tells you little to nothing about peak of the season.
It's kind of like NFL preseason.
Yeah, it's pretty much a waste of time.
That means nothing about the regular season.
Except these preseason and early season storms can dump a lot of rain.
It's fun to watch, that's all. Late May storm origins, it can be active, especially as you mentioned, the Eastern Pacific can be quite active early season.
It can, and you notice how everything seems to cluster on both the East Pacific and the Atlantic side in and around Central America, where we often have a broad area of low pressure setting up. And in June, that continues. Western Caribbean, southern Gulf of Mexico, but also either side of Florida, just a few occasions where you get something developing out in the East Atlantic, but that activity will ramp up in
That's
the peak of the
usually
season.
much later in the season.
Yeah.
Things this time of year tend to form closer to home.
Yes, that's what history teaches us, and right on schedule. The models are trying to hint at something, trying to form in and around Central America, southern Mexico this weekend and early next week. It's still pretty early yet, but what this tells me is that it's just that time of year, and it would not be surprising for something to form in southern Mexico, but it doesn't mean something will. Either way, you don't even have to have a tropical depression or storm to cause a lot of heavy rainfall, flash floods, mudslides. So something to watch out for the next several days. Look at the rainfall forecast with the GFS model showing a broad area of low pressure forming in what we call the Gulf of Tehuantepec there.
And that can cause a lot of problems in Mexico because they're very prone to flash flooding.
Yeah, especially in that mountainous terrain. We've already had Adrian and Beatrice. The next storm in the East Pacific will be Calvin on the Atlantic side. The next name would be Brett, and we'll be off to the races toward the peak of the season.
Indeed we will, Dr.
It's a matter of
Knabb.
time.
Thank you very much. All right, time to sound off now. Our whole team is back. And by the way, look who's back from storm chasing vacation. Catherine Prosef is here.
Yay!
You got your storm chasing tan and everything.
Yeah, I saw 5 tornadoes on my trip, and just
shabby.
a lot of really cool storms.
Cool stuff. All right, we have good questions tonight.
We do. All right, so first one, and I'll direct this one toward Dr. Navarro. We've had a lot of people interested in the pattern change that's coming. I think a lot of people are tired
Itching
of
for summer.
The clouds and the rain, and they're ready for summer.
Yeah,
So
let's hear
Eric
it.
asked, are there any signs that the jet stream will flatten out and move north to allow summer in?
You know, we know it'll happen, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the next 7 to 10 days or so. Unfortunately, the jet stream doesn't look like things are really going to flatten out, become zonal, as we say. We still have a lot of waviness in the pattern, and that's going to bring, again, those above average temperatures now to the East Coast, below average temperatures back to the West Coast. So we'll have to see another couple weeks. Maybe it'll flatten out.
But it could finally feel like summer in the East.
That's very true.
Very nice. Thank you, everyone, for your questions this evening. We'll do our best to answer them every single night on the show. WooTV is the hashtag you use on Twitter. One tonight's open mic, it's Creature Week on the Weather Channel, where you get an up-close and personal look at creatures large and small. And it got me thinking about the greatest creature on Earth, humans. We're the most intelligent and most physically capable beings on this planet, and the most we've ever known. And with that, well, comes great responsibility. We have a responsibility to protect the planet and the vast number of creatures that inhabit it. The number of creatures on the ever-expanding endangered species list is alarming. In fact, the number of animals on the list has increased 280% in the last 20 years alone, and the number of plants have increased 220%. Why? Well, some is natural, disease, predators, small population, or limited habitat, but much is man's doing. Human development and expansion, agriculture, deforestation, logging, mining, hunting, fishing, trapping, illegal poaching, illegal trade, water diversion, water pollution, air pollution, and climate change. Now, we're all God's creatures, and we owe it to all of our fellow inhabitants and to ourselves to do better. It's never been more important. Well, coming up tomorrow on Weather Underground, rounds of storms putting people from the south to the northeast on alert, including much needed rain coming to Florida. Hurricane season now entering its second week. And we take a look back at what's formed during this period and if any chances of development are coming this week. And also, Creature Week continues, talking all things snakes. You don't want to miss it. Well, for all of us here at Weather Underground, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, together we know more.
We have uncovered a remarkable planet, a world of extreme weather.